we humans were created differently, different time, different era, different zone, and we should always remember the differences. They bring a different life perspective, different ideas, opinions, different point of view. Why am I saying this? I always wanted to have somebody on my show who covers the field that some of us have strong belief in, some of us less. And I found not just a guest, but the well-known astrologer.
The ViaMia show is sponsored by the following people.
Recording, rehearsal space, voiceovers, video editing in Westminster. For more information, fiascobros.com. Cuts and colors in Uptown Westminster. We welcome our stylist, George of Salon Caliente. For appointment, call 604-544-5104. Private investigations, security and alarm systems since 1972. For more information, call 604-251-2121. Makeup services for television, movie, and photo shoots. For more information, visit victoriawan.com.
Astrology is like gravity. You don't have to believe in it in order that to be working for you in your life, I guess. But if it's true or not, and much more, I would like to hear from my today's guest, Canada's finest astrologer, Georgia Nicols.
Hi,
Hello,
it's great
Georgia.
to be here.
I'm very happy to meet you. We exchanged so many emails, and finally, nice to see you beside me. I saw you many times. Mm-hmm. Your face is well known from all columns in the newspaper and TV. Now the astrology is kind of new field for me.
Yes.
Every guest brings a lot into my life because I have to learn about their field. Yours was completely new to me, and I'm glad that you're here because you have to explain more. Like,
sure.
How does astrology? How does it work?
Wow. Well, that's just a little question.
I know that.
How does it work? I don't know why it works. No, by the way, I really don't. I think I could have some philosophical discussions about that, but we don't have the time. Why does it work? I don't know. But how it works is it's based on mathematics. So the mathematical cycles of all the planets, as they repeat through thousands of years, and all the first astrologers were mathematicians, great mathematicians, they started to deduce and conclude information by certain cycles, and then wrote books about it eventually and this sort of thing, and then we have learned about that. And then finally, when we know how to make a chart, which is just like a photograph of the moment you're born, the time of day you're born, the date you're born, and also the longitude and latitude, where on the planet, right? Then there's this sort of photograph, if you will, and then we interpret from that. So really, I'm just a map reader, but I want to say this that I think might surprise some of your readers, or I always write, so I'm always saying readers, your viewers. I do not believe that the planets cause anything, because I think if you think that Jupiter out there affects us, or Pluto, that would be stupid.
Well, that's what I thought, because astrology isn't based on the positions of planets?
It is, but the only thing, in my opinion, the only thing in the heavens that can affect us is the sun and the moon, but they do affect us. The sun affects our activity. So, for example, you could be an astrologer and you could make a great prediction. You could say, what is today? Monday. You could say, this Friday in downtown Vancouver, there will be more cars at Georgia and Granville at 4:30 in the afternoon than there will be at 4:30 in the morning. You'll be right, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Unless there's some crazy catastrophe.
Exactly.
And that's the sun. So the sun affects our energy, and when the sun is shining, we get out, we go, and we do things like that. And generally, a large population sleep when the sun is gone, right? The moon also affects us, and I could again give you lots of examples, but I don't think we have time for that. But the moon definitely affects our emotions. But the rest of the planets, they're just information. It's information. So, however, astrologers talk like it's causal. We talk. I will even say, well, because Mars is opposite your sign, blah, blah, blah. But it's just information to me. For example, if you had, have you ever been in a hospital and if you have the temperature in the morning, they say you can't go home. They take your temperature in the morning and then they say you've got a fever, you can't go home. I remember this years ago, okay. So somebody would say, oh, that thermometer, it's ruling my life. Like I can't, you know, but it's just information.
Yes.
It didn't cause the fever. It only tells somebody. So really, the planets and everything are information for an astrologer who is a map reader, but the only thing really causing anything is the sun and the moon, I believe.
Well, that was kind of good explanation. I'm sure that you've faced camera so many times you already know how to limit your speech.
Actually,
because
no, nobody's ever asked me that before.
Oh, really?
Okay. No, generally, when I'm on, I just quickly am telling each sign what to expect. We never discuss astrology, so I welcome this.
No, I like that you say quite a lot in a short period of time, so that's amazing. You've been trained, I know.
I can talk faster too.
Please don't. English is the second language for me. I won't understand you. So you must have studied this. Where do people...
Most astrologers, until I'd say the last 10 years, maybe 10, 15 years, most astrologers definitely in North America are self-trained. And in Europe, astrology is more accepted, especially in Denmark, in Germany, and in England. And so they have had schools there. But just within the last 10 years, we have the very first university teaching it. It's in Seattle, in North America. So most astrologers are self-trained, or we will obviously go to any seminars if we hear another astrologer coming through, that kind of thing. But you learn it by doing charts and charts and charts of people and start to conclude things and see connections.
Well, I'm very interested in those charts. It will come time to it because I know that you have something to share with us, especially with me. It was chart, you said information about me when I was born and stuff. And you said that every city has a chart as well.
This show has a chart. So the moment this show started, it had a little birth, right? Just this show.
Oh.
And it's this day, May 4, 2015, in Vancouver, and it was the exact time that it started, and bingo, there's the chart.
Oh, interesting.
And when I tell people it's Mercury retrograde, you shouldn't buy a car, blah, 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 part of it is because the moment you buy that car, even though the car was manufactured 2 months or 6 months ago, whatever, but the minute you buy the car and then you sign on the dotted line and now you take over, unless you paid cash for it, you're one of the Beatles or whatever, then that relationship is new. So it has a chart, right? So now you have a chart. Every moment in time has a chart.
Yes.
So we're constantly reading that.
I think I'm finally starting to understand it because when you ask first time about city and if I'm interested you to make a chart, I didn't know what you're trying to say to me. I was like, this is going to be really new to me.
Yes.
So how does it work for people? I mean, what does it do to people to have information about? If
they have the information, well, you've brought up a really good point. There's two main thrusts for astrology, as I see it. One is you can learn about yourself. So I can tell you about yourself a bit, right? So you can learn about your character, you can learn about some hidden aspects of yourself you might not have known, or you can confirm what you did think about yourself. So it's self-discovery. But the other is predictions. So the other one is what's going to happen in the future. Those are two separate aspects, right? So the average person, I don't think, can learn how to predict too easily for themselves. But if they knew their chart a little bit, they go, and it can be helpful. It can be helpful.
So no, you just said something what I wanted to ask you, or one answer ahead of me. You just wanted to know how that can help to people to know,
right?
You know, when the readings, you know, about the days and time and relationship, how that can help. Can it prevent anything?
Now I think what I'm just guessing, you're getting more into what I would call the secondary, and that's sort of the predictive quality. For example, one of the things I live by, and it's on the top of my daily column, I call it a moon alert. In astrology, it's actually called something else, but I call it a moon alert every day. I live by that because every 2.5 days, it's a very poor time to spend your money or to make an important decision or to make a big purchase or to do something big. And it's a great time, though, to just do nothing and to be creative and have fun and just business as usual in a way, or to do yoga, meditation, something like that. It's sort of, those times are like we're a helium balloon and somebody cuts the string and now we're just floating, right?
Yeah.
So those can be fun times, but a very bad time to say, no, I'm going to buy that house, or let's buy that company, or even I'll buy that overcoat. And then, because whatever you initiate tends not to fulfill its purpose. So what I'm saying is, you can use astrology to your advantage. Here's just one little quick example. For years I rented in a townhouse out by UBC. It was a charming little street. And I saw in my chart that I was going to move the next year. Well, meanwhile, always we had been afraid the landlord was going to sell everything, but I thought, this could be happening. And so to make a long story short, I had property on an island. I built a house. And sure enough, the next year we were all kicked out. And some said to me, did you see this coming? And I said, no, I didn't. But I said, I saw I had to move, right? So it's quite good. I can even see something like that coming up for you.
Yeah, well, I'm interested. I would
so
like
you
to
see, you can use astrology that way. So it's self-discovery and predictions.
Because soon we have to step in a short break. I have a couple short questions. Depends how long your answers are going to be. I wanted to ask, because I know you sent me an image of your book, because you have a book. You sent me just the one page. I don't know if we can show it here.
Oh, that is currently on
forecast.
Kindle.
Yes.
Or it's on sale on my
on your website.
And there's 12 of them. That's Aries. So there's 12 of those, and they are.
So and the website is georgianicols.com, and you know, I'm Aries.
Yes.
And I always thought that this is the perfect zodiac for me. Do we all think that way? That my zodiac is exactly about me?
Maybe. That's a really good question. I'm a Leo, and I like being a Leo. I've heard Scorpios complain about being Scorpios. They say, oh, we get bad press. Somebody told me that years ago, and I started to read. This was before I ever wrote columns. And I started to read it. I went, she's right. I think they're really giving Scorpios a hard time. I've never asked people if they like their sign. But this is important. You're way more than just one sign. So when you say I'm an Aries, it means your sun is in Aries. But you have your moon somewhere, Mercury somewhere, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and your rising sign, this is very, very important. The rising sign is your image. It's how you look. It's how you present yourself. And the rising sign is really the mask you learned as a child to deal with your family, you know, to survive in your family. So I see from your mask, because you're Libra rising, and I'm the same rising sign as you. I'm
really?
Libra rising. So you learn to be a good little girl.
Well, not really sure what to say about that.
Mind you, you're an Aries, so
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, the little girls sometimes skip.
well, you might have been a tomboy. Yeah. You might have been a tomboy. As a double Aries, you have your moon in Aries as well, so you're very Aries. But Libra rising, that means that you present a sort of a harmonious, polite, easygoing
and I always thought it's just because of the
everybody.
environment where I grew up. I didn't know that
that's
sun and moon and everything had to do with it.
If you were the reverse, if you were Aries rising, that would mean you were always fighting. And that maybe you were born and there was 5 older brothers are always beating up on you and you had to learn. Your first words might have been no. Like, see, but you're the opposite.
Well, that's very interesting. I'm looking forward to hear more from Georgia Nicols right after this break.
The ViaMia show is sponsored by the following people.
Recording, rehearsal space, voiceovers, video editing in Westminster. For more information, fiascobros.com. Cuts and colors in Uptown Westminster. We welcome our stylist, George of Salon Caliente. For appointment, call 604-544-5104. Private investigations, security and alarm systems since 1972. For more information, call 604-251-2121. Makeup services for television, movie, and photo shoots. For more information, visit victoriawan.com.
Okay, so we are back with Georgia Nicols, the Canada's finest astrologer. So we have very limited time, so I don't want to talk too much. Just wanted to ask if you could ever help, or astrology, if it can help partners find each other, help with marriage, finding soulmates.
Oh boy, I'm really glad you asked me that. Okay. That's really hard to do. And they have tons of books out there, tons of books out there. And I think, I'm not going to say the books are wrong, but the books are so limited. That would almost be like to say, oh, Aries should be with Leo and Sag, and Taurus should be with Virgo and Capricorn. That would be like saying, well, if you speak English, you should be with somebody who speaks English. And if you speak French, it's that simple. Yeah. Because let's take a look at you. You're Libra rising. So you would like an Aries, because that's opposite you. And meanwhile, you are an Aries. Right? So you have a strong Aries Libra thing going. But in your chart, you have Venus and Pisces. So your Venus is where your bias is. You like Pisces people. But the opposite sign of Pisces is Virgo. They're two ends of the same plank. So you'd also like Virgo. There's many, many reasons.
So I like all of them.
Yes. We should, I always tell somebody, just, hey, fall in love, and then just...
You know, when you started with those charts, we have one image, and I would like to share it with people now, because when you send it to me, I was looking at this and had no idea what was happening on that picture. And you brought some with you because you said it's not just that one image about. You said this is my birth date?
That's your natal chart. That's your natal chart, because it tells me that you're born at 5:36 p.m. where you are born. So that means that you are Libra rising. So as a Libra rising, forget the fact that you're Aries, but as Libra rising, you like nice surroundings. You like matching towels. You like your living room to look nice. If you go into a restaurant, you will wait for a good table. You want a nice table, right?
Yes.
Now, Aries, ironically, is the very opposite. So you have both those in you. You have contradictions within you. The Libra in you would just like to be in a nice hotel. The Aries would like to be out hiking and doing things. See, I am. At any rate, some people are back to the land and some are back to the hotel.
Do we all
have contradictions. Some have more contradictions than others. And I would say that you have, well, you virtually do. You're a double Aries with Libra rising. I'm Libra rising as well. So there we have your rising sign, and yet we see the sun, if you see that chart again, completely 180 degrees opposite. So the sun is between 2 and 3 o'clock. See if that was a clock. But what I'm looking at is what is at 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, that's key. And that funny little turquoisey blurb that's 17 degrees, that's your rising sign. But meanwhile, we see your sun in Aries is way over in the 7th house, opposite. So that tells me that partnership and marriage is important to you. And also that dealing with the public is classic for you, that you're out there. That would be, right?
Yeah.
And so I just keep seeing it. Every one of those little pies of the piece of pizza, you know, every little section there means an area of your life. And then if I see a planet there, I go, this is easy for her. This is not so easy for her. She could make money this way. Oh no, and see things like that.
Wow, I'd like to hear that. You said that you also brought a chart that is and you have it here physically with you about today, right? Can we?
Oh, okay.
Can we take a look at that?
Yes. Okay. This chart actually has your chart inside it. So if anybody would look, they would see that inside, right in the inner circle here, is that's your chart, because there's your sun there, and this was your Libra rising. But the outer wheel, this outer one, is today.
Okay.
So that's how I would take a look at what's happening for this person. So this planet here, Jupiter, is right here in this part of you today, and it'll stay there until, and it'll move this way in about 2 months, it'll already be there. So I can tell you right now that in about a couple of months, you're entering a whole year that'll be very popular for you.
Okay, in 2 months from now? Oh, that's short.
I mean, definitely happening. The most in 12 years, right? So this is how an astrologer looks. They see your chart, and then they see the wheel going around it, and then they start to make deductions from that.
I'm so glad that you came, because I was waiting for a good news for a long time.
Definitely. But I can also see that late this year, in the next 2016 and 17, you might have a change of residence.
Yeah?
I'm quite sure, actually.
Okay. That is good news too, because no, I love Vancouver, but
Right.
I've been keep relocating after so many years, and I feel like I think it's time.
Well,
for a
you see,
little
I didn't even think
change.
you'd leave
Yeah.
the city, but I see you're already thinking of that. Aries, of course, you like adventure
Maybe
constantly.
country, I don't know.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
But definitely a change is coming up. Yeah.
Well, that was part of what I wanted to ask you, because when we were talking about the show, I asked you if I can give you a question about something about me, about my future, my career. I live my personal life usually alone, but in terms of career, which is really important to me, I've been in the show business since I was 5. I don't think I can do anything else, but if I really wanted to, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but I'm curious anyway, okay? What would be the ideal job, occupation for me if I do need to leave?
Well, there's no question you love to deal with the public,
Yeah.
and you absolutely love to be creative. You love
Yes.
creativity,
Yeah.
you love the theater,
Yeah.
you love the arts and all of that. However, I would say this, you are a nurturer too. And I could see you, and I'm sure you like animals and rescuing
Yes, I do
animals.
love
Yeah,
animals.
I could see you somehow being having a show and it helps save dogs in Mexico or something like this, right?
Yeah.
So you nurture or you call the attention of people to the plight of animals and that you're caring. Why I'm saying that is because Cancer is at the very top of your chart and the moon rules that. And the moon is virtually the big tit. Okay, the moon is the nurture to the world, right?
Okay.
And so we know, meanwhile, you have this love of animals, especially baby animals, right?
Yeah.
And which I'm sure you think everybody does, but they don't.
Yeah.
And
true.
so you could be instrumental the way, William Holden, wasn't he years ago? I mean, he was big, and who was his girlfriend? And she continued, they did safari stuff. There's definitely different people who have used their influence to obviously save people and save children, but many have done it for saving animals or the plight of animals in different countries. I could actually see you doing something like that.
Yep, that was for years. I was thinking one day I might be working with and for animals.
But you could be a public figure
Yeah,
doing it, though.
yeah.
You could have a TV show or show people so that they would donate money
Yeah.
or something. I mean, so you do like
Well,
to
that's a
deal with the
great
public.
idea.
You do like to be with the
Yes.
public, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a very tender heart.
It's nice, yeah. It's nice to face people and talk to them, and if you see that you're doing something what they like, it's a great feeling,
Yes.
It's a really nice feeling.
Yes.
I wanted to take advantage of the fact that we're talking about the show business, about upcoming show we're going to be doing in Parksville. It's a Vancouver Island Tribute Festival, and we are there with our tribute band, ABBA Time, and we are one of 17, 18 other very talented performers, so come and join us. It's just around the corner, 22nd to 24th of May. And yeah, that was another thing I was talking about, singing, hosting, working with people on a show. It's been really great, but I'm thinking, is the time, everything has some limits, right? And
That's true.
It might something come by that I may use my transferable skills, but would be nice to just enter a different
From your
field.
chart, I would still stay in the show business for a while because this is an easy year for you to put your name up in lights. This is an easy year for you to promote yourself.
Well, it is, and I don't even know if I could do anything else. Like I said, can't see myself in the office from 9 to 5. Might probably kill me.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel I really respect people they do that because I wouldn't be able to.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like we all are different, right?
Yes.
So, there were so many. What I would remember names, visionaries, seers. They were not astrologers. Like let's talk about Nostradamus. He was and they proved to predict. So how did they work? What do you think?
I don't know, but I would not be surprised that Nostradamus was not an astrologer. I would think because I thought he might have even been into mathematics. And at that time, but he might
numerology
not.
and
Yes,
stuff like that.
exactly. But I don't know. Although I actually have read a little bit about him on Wiki and that sort of thing. No, I have. I'm sure there's many disciplines that can come up with this, right? So
Yeah.
I can only really speak about astrology.
Yeah, these
I
things
can't
are
answer
so
for other
interesting. It interests me. That I read a lot and how many things really happened. What he predicted, right? And how many years. Well, I'm talking to Georgia Nicols, and we can find her on georgianicols.com. I've read your posts. I see you in the TV. You're quite often there, and you know, there's so many questions I wanted to ask. I know that when I first time addressed you, I said that you are astrologist, which you corrected me.
Right.
You said you're astrologer, and it was interesting because I found something on the internet because I felt like, why am I the only one calling you that way? This is what I found.
Quite common. It's quite common.
And it said, what I Googled says astrologer is in the proper term. However, there are still people who call astrologers astrologists, and they are skeptics, scammers, and journalists.
Oh, really? I never thought of it having that connotation. I just thought it was, to me, because we say psychology and then psychologist. So that's why I thought people said astrology, astrologist. And I generally would never correct anybody, but because I knew we were going to be on TV, I thought...
Yeah, it has to be proper. Yeah, of course. And sometimes people, we mistake the words like astrology, astronomy.
Big difference.
And there are two different things.
Especially to an astronomer.
Exactly. And I know that you deal with different facts on astronomy. So now I want to know if my second guest beside you would be representing astronomy. Would you two get along?
Possibly, especially if he was cute. Okay, no, possibly. But most astronomers would be very skeptical about astrologers. Why? And I can tell you this: they know nothing about astrology.
Well, that's what.
So they make this assumption. For example, they would make an assumption that I thought something's going to happen to me because Pluto moves, and that would be stupid. So I don't think that. But at any rate. And I could go on, but we don't have time to explore it. But I think that they would know. They don't like it, and they certainly don't want to be confused with one.
What about you, your life? How do you let the astrology guide your life?
Well, to begin with, I live by my moon alert. I totally do that. I look forward to a time when I can see this is beneficial, this is good fortune for myself or my family, right? And then also, as I told you before, when I might move. It can give you practical advice.
Well, it's time for me to say goodbye to everybody and to you, Georgia, unfortunately. But before you go, I have a message for you. Ozzy Caban of Caban Protective, who is one of the biggest and most established companies for investigators. When he learned that you're going to be on my show, he said, "Tell Georgia I follow her." He said that you're the closest.
Oh, thank you. So, and that, coming from him, that's a compliment, because I'm pretty sure he'd be Scorpio, and if he's not a Scorpio, believe me, he is Scorpio.
To him.
Because his whole industry is a Scorpio industry. Locks, keys, security, secrets.
So we'll talk to him about this. And this is the time for me to say goodbye to all of you. Georgia, before you go, you need to do what everybody else. I need to have your signature
of course. Absolutely.
Of my cup.
Sure.
And if this was not enough for you, it was interesting, georgianicols.com would be the website of my guest, and I will see you next time.
Great. Thank you.